All right, well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Can I have your attention? Welcome this morning. My name is Amanda Pollard. I am the Director of Career Services here at King. I would like to introduce my colleague, Michaela Curtis. I think some of y'all probably know Miss Michaela. She is a 2025 Healthcare Administration graduate and a former women's soccer player. Oh, okay. Guys, we knew we were going to do a convocation through Career Services, and Michaela and I just kind of started talking about what we would like to present. And the topic of kind of transition from King to life after King kept kind of coming to the top, but specifically as a student athlete. And so Michaela came up with the name for today's presentation, Life After the Last Game. And it's not meant to be depressing, it's meant to be exciting. And to talk, I know it does sound but we are just really excited about this topic. And who better to talk about this than five King alumni who were former student athletes. I can't wait to meet them in just a minute for you guys to meet them. And just a side note, please join us for a coffee hour afterwards in the library. We'd love for you to come and continue the conversation. But I would like to start this morning with prayer. And if you would, please join me in prayer. Dear gracious Heavenly Father, God, I just thank you for today. I thank you for the freedom that we can come together and just be together and to share. Lord, I thank you for each and every one of the alumni here today. Thank you for their time. Thank you for giving them safety. Lord, and I thank you for each and every one of the students here today. Please let them know how much you love them and how much we so appreciate them. Lord, be with us and guide our conversation. In Jesus' name, amen. So let's begin with some introductions, and I'm going to have each one of the alumni introduce themselves, tell a little bit about their King story as far as their major and their sport, and a little bit about what they do now. And then I'm going to kind of guide the conversation. I've got some specific questions, but if time allows, would love to hear some questions from you guys. So, all right, let's kick us off right here.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Richard Masters. I'm a 2010 and 2012 graduate. First time around was in accounting, and then my MBA as well from King. I was on the soccer team from 2006 to 2010, and I'm currently the Chief Financial Officer of Kingsway Pharmaceuticals, which is about 5 minutes away from where we're at.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kaylin Hunter, and I graduated from King in 2012 and 2013. So in 2012, I graduated with my undergrad in technical and professional communication with a minor in digital media design, and then I did my master's in business administration in 2013. And while I was at King, I played on the women's basketball team for 5 years, and I also was a part of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee. And then now I serve as the Senior Destination Development Manager for Virginia Tourism Corporation, better known as Virginia is for Lovers. So I hope you all have heard of that brand and seen it around. But I work for the state agency working with communities across the Commonwealth to build a tourism product, so trails, working with hoteliers, really about the visitor experience in Virginia.
I'm Randy Goodman. I graduated from King in 2018 with my biology major and a math minor, and then again in 2024 with my MBA. I played bicycles. I was on the cycling team for both my undergraduate and my master's, which was such a cool experience. And my current title is an Operational Excellence Coordinator with Ballot Health, and that means that we're in process improvement and a little bit of project management, but process improvement is really cool.
Hi there, my name is Joel Salva. I graduated from King in 11 and then again in 19 with an MBA. Majored, I was a glutton for punishment, so I was a physics major, triple minor in biology, chemistry, and math. So while I was at King, played men's volleyball. I was actually on the inaugural '07 team, made it all the way to 11, so that was a fun time. And I currently work as the industrial engineering manager at Bell Helicopter right up the road here in Piney Flats, so get to build, design, helicopter, aircraft components, things like that, so super neat job.
I guess I got a mic here in my lap. Good morning. My name is Nathaniel Hughes. I played college basketball at King from 2011 to 2016. I redshirted in 2011. In 2015, I got my degree in physical education with a business minor, and then in 2016, pursued my MBA with a concentration in finance. Currently, I'm a certified financial planner with Northwestern Mutual. So I help people with money and businesses with money. Thank you.
Great, thank you. If you could share the microphones, that would be real nice. Note. Well, Nate, I'm actually going to start with you. Can you tell us a little bit about your transition from student athlete to the world of work? What has that journey looked like, and were there any challenges for you?
Yeah, I think just transitioning from student athlete to work, I was very fortunate because I got to intern with Northwestern Mutual, which meant I got to call on potential prospects, take seasoned advisors with me, and kind of learn what I would be doing if I decided to pursue this career when I graduated. So there wasn't really that shock factor when I graduated and started full-time. I would say the difference is when I was interning, I was keeping 5 meetings a week. Whereas when I graduated, it was really intimidating because now I've got to try to keep 15 potential client meetings a week. So how do I find prospects? How do I get referrals? How do I call people and continue to get kicked in the teeth for people to meet with me about financial planning because nobody wants to talk about money? So I would say just overcoming that adversity early on in my career was the most challenging part.
Thank you. Joel, same question. And I can repeat it for you. Describe your transition from student athlete to the world of work. What that journey look like and challenges you may have experienced.
So I'm not going to lie, it kind of sucked. So I was fortunate enough that after playing college ball, I got to play professionally a year in Puerto Rico, so that was pretty neat. So I kind of got to go to the next level of sports. Realized the grass wasn't as green on that side, and hey, you probably need to find a way to kind of make a living outside of playing sports. It was super difficult because, as many of you probably went through it as well, like you've probably played sports the majority of your life, and you've kind of wrapped your identity around, this is what I do, this is my kind of schedule. When that ball kind of drops and the last whistle kind of blows, what next? And that was super daunting for me. I know we said it's not all doom and gloom, and I promise you that it's not, but it's a reality check that this is a time in the season in your life. Ecclesiastes talks about it. What are you doing to prepare for the next one? So I think a lot of it is making sure where are you rooted in your faith, and what are you looking to actually go accomplish in your kind of mission that the Lord's got for you. All that to say, King does prepare you well for that type of adversity and being able to overcome it. So really just making sure, what do you want to do when you grow up? And start thinking about it now and not after you kind of graduate.
Thank you for that. Other panelists, challenges maybe that you experienced in that transition, if you'd like to speak to any of those.
I'll reiterate what Joel said. It was a very difficult transition for me. I didn't play pro, but I tried to. So I wasn't as good as Joel in my area. But I definitely didn't think about what was coming next. And that I did suffer for that. I didn't have a network. I didn't know who to talk to for mentorship. And when I finally did let the ball go, in my case it was a soccer ball, things actually started to pick up, and I finally found my feet. But I think it's very effective, hopefully for you guys to hear that, of enjoy soccer, enjoy your experience at King, make the most of it because it goes really quick. But when it does, be prepared and look for what comes next, and hopefully you'll transition a lot better than perhaps Joel and I did. So, good luck.
Thank you. If not, I can go. Yeah.
I will just echo what Joel and Richie have shared. It was a tough transition, and I mean, how many people are college athletes in here? Can you raise your hands?
College athletes, wow.
Okay. And how many of you all have played since you were 5 years old, the sport you're in today? Right. So that's your identity. And your teammates are your community. Your coaches are your community here. And so when you leave here, you're going to have to find your new community and a new network of people. And just keep your mind open to that. And when you came to King, I'm sure that the transition was hard, especially for freshmen thinking you're going to play and start, and you have to work your way up. It's just like that when you transition to your career. So make sure you listen and build your community, but I did have a also difficult time as well.
Randy, if you want to.
I felt like I had an easy transition because I worked and did sports and did school throughout undergrad and for my master's. And where cycling isn't as much of a team sport, it didn't feel like I struggled to adjust to just working and cycling because I still got to do that. So for my sport, what helped is still getting to go and find my community and go on group rides. And then I got into running and I found group runs. So still having that regularity and that community helped a lot with the transition as well.
Thank you. Well, Randy, actually my next question is for you. What experience or experiences did you have at King that most prepared you for the world of work?
Oh, without a doubt, first internships, and then every single class that had some kind of presentation helped me so much. So I know when you're in them, it can feel scary and like a lot of work, but that experience of researching a topic and then presenting it to your peers is invaluable when it comes to work. Because especially with what I do in process improvement, we host these events called rapid improvement events. And you're up in front of people for 3-4 days at a time, speaking the entire day, walking them through their process, figuring out where they are, where they want to be, and helping them figure out how they can make that happen. So those presentations you guys are giving are so helpful. Value those. And then internships. I mean, that's actual hands-on experience. So in my undergrad, I was lucky enough to do an internship. And then for my master's, I did an internship with my group as well.
Fantastic, thank you. Rich, same question. What experiences did you have here that most prepared you for the world of work?
So I don't know if there's any international students in here as well. I won't make you raise your hand. Okay. Yeah. So for me, it was gaining independence, moving away from my family and not being such a mummy's boy. So that was really helpful for me. I had to figure out how to pay my rent, how to pay my own bills, and just navigate my own schedule. Before that, everything was kind of maintained for me. You know, my food was made for me. I got dropped off to school, to football practice, soccer practice, things like that. So coming to King really enabled me to have the opportunity to become independent, and I grasped that. I didn't just shrink under that. I took advantage of it, and I think that really helped. And then another thing that was maybe a little bit unique was when I came to King, I didn't actually know how to learn, and that sounds really silly, but I remember very vividly my freshman seminar class, which was 100 years ago now, but it was something about how different people learn. And for me, I struggled in secondary school, high school, sorry. And it wasn't until I took this class that I realized I don't audibly process information very well. And so because of that, I struggled in school, or underperformed, I guess. And when it came to King, I realized I'm a visual learner. And that has carried through in my workplace as well, where on-the-job training was very difficult unless people showed me how to do it. And now, being a CFO where I have to train a lot of people, I now make sure that I asked them very quickly, how do you learn? Like, what is it that enables you to grasp what I'm trying to teach you? And so I need to see one, I need to do one, and I need to teach one in order to fully grasp the topic. And so for me, King gave me that foundation. I learned how to learn. Sounds really silly, I guess. But from there, I eventually became, I guess, successful as an academic, which was enjoyable. And it created a lifelong learning, passion for learning as well. So that's about it, really.
Great, thank you. I love this. It's like this idea of practicing. You're practicing your profession. You're practicing presentation skills. So just know that when we as professors ask you to do a presentation, it's not like we're like, oh, let's make them nervous. We do it because you're going to have to do that regardless of your career. So, so great. And I appreciate you talking about your learning style. To me, that's something very important to know so that you can then relate that to your employer and with your colleagues. So great, thank you guys. Kaylin, next question is for you. Could you highlight maybe 2 to 3 skills you developed as a student athlete specifically that you use today in your job or leading up today to today's job?
So as you all know, working with your teammates in college, it requires communicating effectively. And one thing that I had the ability to be a team captain for the women's basketball team for 3 years, and that taught me how to effectively communicate with people from all backgrounds and all walks of life and people who might not think the same as me. So communication is something that really is at the forefront. And I will say problem solving. I'm sure that you all have gone through seasons, and if you've gone through a season where you've not had any issues on a team, sign me up, because I've never heard of that before in my life. But problem solving is something that has really transitioned into the working world. So those 2 things in particular, and then strategic thinking. So in my job today, working with communities and trying to help them input new trail development, or if they're trying to build an itinerary for visitors to come and really increase revenue for their communities, we have to think strategically about how we're going to do that. A Starbucks popping up in downtown Bristol, that just doesn't happen because you guys say you want it, right? We have to see that there's demand and that there's something that's going to continue generating revenue 7 days a week for that business in order for it to sustain. So I will say my skills of being a college athlete and what I've learned at King in the classes was the strategic thinking component and being able to translate that into the working world.
Fantastic. Others have any skills that you think I specifically learned as a student athlete that I use today? Anybody like to add to that?
So I would say discipline. There's going to be a certain portion of your work schedule. Guess what? There's going to be days you don't want to go into work. There's days I didn't want to go work out. There's some level of accountability and integrity that you got to have, whether people are watching or not watching. Sports will teach you that. Coaches will know, your teammates will know if you do things or aren't doing things. Translates into the working world as well. So just making sure you're disciplined and maintain your own integrity.
Great, thank you so much. Nate, my next question is for you. Were you asked about your were you asked about your experience as a student athlete in your initial job search process?
Yeah, I think my company, Northwestern Mutual, actually targets athletes.
Okay.
And I think there's a lot of other companies that actually do that because, like in sales roles, athletes are typically competitive. They're typically disciplined or hardworking. They're good teammates typically. So I think strategically companies position themselves to recruit athletes. I can't really think back to if they asked me about that. I'm sure they did. I was very fortunate to have a managing director who went through the internship program, who was actually a college basketball player at Milligan University. So I think having that ability to relate through sports is very, very important. So, but I can't really remember if it was asked.
Great, thank you. Kaylin, were you asked about that in your job search process?
Yes, I was asked about that. And I think the thing Randy mentioned, the internships, my internships at King taught me what I did not want to do. That's it, and that was a powerful message for me. It let me know, hey, this is not the direction for you, so explore other opportunities. Whenever I was applying for jobs, because it's hard, right? You all are dedicating your time to your sport and to your craft here, and you have to translate that. So making sure you're translating that on your resume, looking at the position descriptions that you are applying for. Don't just blindly apply on LinkedIn or Indeed without really thinking strategically about, is this a fit for me, and how does my resume align with the position description? And maybe you don't have the 2 to 3 years of experience in the industry, but I think it's important that you align your skills that you've developed being a college athlete with that being transferable and translatable into the working world. So I was asked about how those skills translated into the career that I chose.
Great. And this kind of, the next question kind of feeds into that one. Joel, you hire students and interns and folks to come work with Bell. When you see student athlete on a resume, from a prospective hire, what does it mean to you? What do you think of when you see that on that resume?
So I am curious, I guess some of the questions I'll have will be around, is it a team sport or a solo sport? Trying to see how well do you communicate or collaborate. If I see sports, typically means there's some level of dedication there, that you've got some, stick-to-itiveness to a task. Things get tough. Do you fold? Do you not fold? Are you able to really grind it out? Do you kind of have some objectives that get set? At the beginning of every year, we want to be Conference Carolinas champions. Wonderful. Everybody and their mom wants to be Conference Carolinas championships. What are the day-to-day activities and steps that you took to make that happen? So I'm just curious to really get to understand the person kind of behind it, and
Right.
How well does that translate into the working world of, man, we got this crazy project going on right now. Are you in? Are you half in? Can I count on you? Can I not count on you? It'll be questions like that that I kind of look for and see.
Could I follow up with you on maybe in the interview process? How can a student speak effectively about their student athlete experience, and do they sometimes sell themselves short?
Sure. I'll probably be the first one to admit I'll sell myself short. I really don't like talking about myself and just kind of the things I've done, or at least think I've done. But as weird as it sounds, I want to know about the times you lost. And what did you take from it? What did you learn from it? Because when everybody's winning, man, it's kosher. This is the greatest team ever to be on. And you're high on life right now. It's, well, what happened when you just got blown out and the bus ride home? Are you guys talking about the strategy? What went wrong? How are we fixing this in the practice? Or are you just, back there, pop a movie in and, hey, don't worry about it. You're kind of checked out. So as weird as it sounds, I actually kind of gloss over if people have like, oh, champion this, champion that. That's great. Don't get me wrong. I really want to know, well, what happened when you lost? And what'd you do, and how'd you bounce back from that?
That's a great question. Actually, I this is not on your list of questions. How did you handle those losses? Rich, I'm looking right at you.
Well, I was part of a successful team. We were a 2008 Hall of Fame team. We would go to nationals and things like that. But I think the losses we took really hard because they weren't frequent. But so when they did come, they were usually quite important games. And I remember very vividly that a few of my teammates would sit on the soccer field and we would just sit there in silence, frustrated, angry, but very much self-reflecting on what we could have done better, and not always about ourselves, but as a team. And I think that's what made us successful, is we really cared about getting better and not being afraid to go through a loss so that we could come back the next time and perform. And it was always how do we go to practice the next day and go to another level? And our team was ferocious. We were pretty known as a very physical team. We had a lot of internationals. I think that contributed to it with our British contingent, as we called it. Tackles would fly in. We were very loud. We would scream and shout at each other because we loved each other. And so when we lost, we took it really hard. And to kind of touch upon like a little bit what we were talking about earlier, I look for people when I hire if they're coachable. I've hired people that aren't, and they don't integrate very well into the team, and they're out very quickly. Unfortunately, that's not a nice thing to go through, but we have hired recently from King, hired McKinley Wagner, who's a wrestler. He's an awesome guy, and he's just integrated so well into our group. He's just a really good personality. He's not a wonderful accountant, to be honest with you, and he'll tell him that, he'll say that. But he's coachable, and these guys must know. But he will be, I think, because he's coachable. And he's fortunately got someone like myself and my team who will come alongside him and help him. And he'll be fine. Don't worry, everybody. He'll be fine.
I appreciate that. I really like that. I'm glad y'all are being honest, because there's no reason to get up here and kind of sugarcoat things. You know, I think that's the thing, and I think being coachable is an amazing skill and ability. So, Randy, I have a follow-up question for you. Actually, I'd love to hear this from all of you all, because this is something, I hate to point Michaela out here, but one of the things that she was talking to me about was you go from living your sport every day. I mean, you know, you're still a student, but living your sport. Is it still part of your life in some way today? So, Randy, if you'll kick us off, and then Nate, if you'll follow up and let us know, and I'll hear from everybody.
I'd say yes. I'm not riding bikes right now as much as I would like to, but I still have my riding buddies that I can call up and say, hey, let's go on a ride. Will they smoke me? Absolutely. I'm in lifting shape. I'm not in cycling shape. But I think the fact that I was able to work at Mountain Sports for so long and be able to lead the group rides, that was a valuable part of my life. So yes, still very much a part of my life.
Great, thank you. Nate.
Playing 5 years here for Coach Pitts, I got toward the end of my career and I'd made peace with basketball. So it felt really good to hang the jersey up. When the buddies text and ask if I want to play pickup on Saturday, absolutely not. I don't move laterally as good as I used to. I love sports. I love football, basketball. The way I've stayed around the game is I actually referee high school and college basketball now. So it's kept me around the game. I still get the chills when the anthem plays. I feel really blessed to be able to do that. So I'm still involved in basketball in that way.
Kaylin, can you speak to that question?
Yeah, I'm same as Nathan. I'm not playing any type of basketball at any moment, but I'm still connected to sports. So my husband, he's the head football coach at Emory and Henry, and we have 120 to 130 kids at any given time that we're responsible for. So we are very connected to the Emory and Henry community in that regard, and I know y'all are all athletes in here, for a majority of you. You love your snacks and love your food, so I make sure to keep all the snacks stocked at my husband's office for the kids. But yeah, we are connected in that way. So not basketball, but football, and I think that's helped translate. And then, of course, in my job, like recruiting, helping recruit kids to Emory, so making sure they know what there is to do here, where my husband and I's favorite spots are to eat. Everybody loves Pals if you come to this area, so people want to know what that giant hot dog and hamburger are, right? So we try to make sure that all of our recruits know that and they feel at home.
Joel, is it still part of your life? And then finally, Rich.
Yeah, so a resounding absolutely not. No, it's, so thankfully I was able to, my senior year we played in the conference championship, absolutely got wrecked. It was pretty awful. But from that, I still remember going back to the locker room, and I bawled my eyes out. And it wasn't because we lost. I got over that at a super young age, crying because you either win or lose. But it was more of a realization it was the end of a journey, and that kind of time and season of my life was over. So it was a mourning kind of period for me. And I think that really helped kind of ease me into, hey, I'm hanging it up, and I'm kind of done. I got to play 1 year professionally. That's super neat. I played a couple times here and there, pickup. Broke my hand one time, and I was like, yeah, I'm good, man. I'm done. So I think now the most I do is help my niece practice her serving in our backyard and be like, yeah, you got it.
I love it. Thank you. And Rich.
Yeah, so mine was kind of like two phases. The first phase was upon graduation, I went straight into coaching, and I got a lot out of that, and I hope I gave a lot back. And that was the aim, was to connect with the local community. So I did coach Division I soccer for a little while. It wasn't for me. So I went into youth sports, and I got to mentor some really great kids. And they ended up, which I guess is offensive to us, they went to ETSU instead of King. They should have gone to King and played there. But that was really rewarding, and I think I got a lot from that, and I hope they did too. But now I have 4 kids, and of course I have to coach them soccer because they heard I played soccer. And so they're crazy about it. We've got soccer goals everywhere, more balls than we need. And so we do that, but then also I did play pickup when I graduated, and to reiterate what was said earlier, do try and get involved when you graduate. Go play a little bit if you can. That helped me get connected in the local area as well as just stay active. I think I gained about 15 pounds when I got married. She was a great cook and still is. And so I gained a lot of weight and realized that I needed to get back in shape. So I started playing again and used soccer for that reason. But because of, for example, in an alumni game, I went to swat a wasp that was attacking my wife and actually pulled my shoulder. Your body does change.
Oh, wow.
It's a true story, and it gets worse. But anyways, your body does change, and so playing basketball, playing soccer, your body just probably can't handle it, unfortunately. So I've morphed that into playing on Zwift, which is online cycling. That's pretty fun, except when you lose a lot. I like to run, so you might see me running around sometimes. Don't hit me in your car. And I go to the YMCA and work out. So I try and do cross-training. I don't try and just nail my body in one area. I just try and keep it in various shapes of fitness. And then last but not least, stretch. Stretch as much as you can. Like, don't forget about stretching. Right now you don't need to because you're young and supple. But when you get to my age especially, stretching actually feels really good. And it will save you from swatting things and pulling stuff. So.
I appreciate that. Well, I have other questions, but I would love to know if the audience has any questions for our panelists. Anything? Just raise your hand or stand up. Okay. Everyone's like, don't make eye contact with her. She will make you ask a question. Okay. No? Okay. The last question I have for you guys is, and I would like each of you all to respond, if you could give yourself as a student athlete or a student here at King advice based on what you know now, what would it be? Who would like to kick us off with that one? If you could give yourself, back in the day, advice based on what you know now, what would it be?
Enjoy it. It's a real short window, 4 years or 5, depending on your academics or your season, whatever. It goes by real quick, guys. Enjoy the people that you're around. Most of them you probably won't see after you graduate and move on. Some folks you will. I think the best advice I ever heard from my coach was, at the end of the year, you do these banquets and things like that. You'll maybe remember 3 or 4 plays that might happen throughout the year. All the other stories are the time that you spent with your teammates and the times that you spent on the bus and that you got to hang out. Those are special. I'm actually going to end up taking a selfie with myself here with you guys in the background and send it in a group chat that I still have with the guys on the team. We still keep in touch. Reality is they're all over the world. And we kind of have a group chat where it's big events, so weddings, children's births, things like that we'll still keep in touch. I think today's a pretty neat one, being on this side of the stage to be able to share that with the team. So enjoy it. It goes by quick, guys.
Great. I appreciate that, and if the others, when you respond, could also say, are you still in touch with any of your teammates? Appreciate that. Who would like to go next? Nate?
I would say advice would be to trust God's timing. We all have mental timelines that we want to accomplish things, but at the end of the day, it's God's timeline, not our timeline. I would advise pray frequently at good and bad times. So pray often. And then lastly, I would focus on relationships with each other. I know when I was here, you know, you go in the dining hall and the basketball team's sitting with the basketball team and the baseball team's sitting with the baseball team. I would put your phones up and I would go meet the baseball team and go meet the wrestling team and the softball team, because you never know who's going to be a future business partner, who's going to be a future colleague, a future employer, whose dad may be looking to hire somebody that needs your skill set. So really focus on networking and always be prospecting would be my advice.
You keep in touch with any of your teammates?
Yeah, I have several teammates who are clients of mine, several coaches who are clients of mine across all sports. So I felt like I did a pretty good job of mingling with different sports when I was here, and I'm very thankful for those relationships.
Great, thank you. Randy, what advice would you give yourself back in the day, knowing what you know now, and do you stay in touch with your teammates?
I would tell younger Randy to start talking back to that inner voice that is full of self-doubt. Because you are capable, you can do it, and what helped me was taking a step back and looking at, hey, I am here. Somebody thought that I could ride bikes for school and get a scholarship. They thought that I could earn this degree. So talking back to that inner voice and fighting that imposter syndrome, if I could tell myself to start doing that earlier, that would have been really good advice to hear. And I see a couple of my former teammates over here, so I'm excited to say hi to them. And I try and stay in touch with my coach, and I stayed in touch with him during my break from undergrad and master's as well.
Great, thank you. Kaylin?
Some advice that I would give is just to lead with an open heart and open mind as you are pursuing the next chapter. And I think something important to keep in mind is one problem in your life right now seems like everything, right? And when you start to transition into this next chapter of your life, you are going to be faced with such challenges that you never thought you would be able to overcome. And don't forget that you're not the only one having those challenges day to day. And so leading with grace and an open mind helps you to make those connections and build those relationships like that was mentioned by Nathaniel. I do still keep up with my teammates. I think we have a pretty big group chat, and we try to meet in person at least once per year. We're really intentional about it with children and all of the things, but it's important to us to connect in person at least once per year.
That's great, thank you. Rich?
What I would tell myself to grow up. I was pretty immature as an undergrad, to be honest. Made a lot of mistakes as a student and an athlete. And so I would tell myself to grow up and get my head on the next step and think about those relationships that we've already talked about. The people that you made friends here are different to the ones you'll make in the working world. You will know each other before you make any kind of money, which can cause division. When people are more successful than you, you tend to kind of feel a bit outside a little. But you guys have known each other before you became successful, perhaps. And there's something real about that you can, I can tell a CEO that I'm friends with that he's a fool because I knew him when he was, doing something he shouldn't at college, and I couldn't do that to my CEO at work because it's my boss. So there's something real and raw about your friendships now. So maintain them, look after them, and go outside of your teams. We did do that. We did integrate ourselves with different teams. Like I knew Kaylin. We had boyfriends and girlfriends between the teams, so that helped. But it is good to branch out as well as outside of the athletics, the groups. And that could be prospective clients and things like that. It's very true. But also, I do maintain close relationships here, which has helped because we all had kids together. And trust me, you want to have friends with kids to help. If anything, just to throw them at their house and run away for just an hour to stare at a wall for some quiet. But genuinely to also bring them in when they need a rest too, so you support each other. It is a real village bringing up kids, and you want to have friendships like that. So try and get them going now. Create deep relationships, but also just to add something different. I did try and pull away from King a little bit because I wanted to have friendships that were new and different at where I worked and then in the area as well. And that made me feel more comfortable being in this community, especially being an international student or international person.
Great. Thank you so much. This has been great. Let's give them a round of applause. Yeah, Joel, go ahead. There you go. All right, so if you guys will just stay seated for just a couple more minutes, I would once again invite you, if you have time, to join us in the library for a coffee hour. We have some treats and some coffee, and I'm actually going to have my panelists, if you could go ahead, and Michaela's going to walk you over so y'all are coffeeed up and ready for us to come on over there. And students, thank you. Thank you, guys. Students, if you'll get your phones out, I would love for you to scan the QR code that is coming up on the screen. Thank you, guys. Do I need to do anything to get it up there? All right, so if you will, scan the code. I'd love to see everybody scan it, please, if you can. This is like a quick feedback on today's presentation. I want your honest feedback. Honest, please. And the last thing I'm going to ask or to tell you about is this evening from 6 to 8 in the Den, Northwestern Mutual will be hosting a student-athlete-focused resume workshop. Drop in, grab a snack, and learn from an employer about how you can best present your skills on a resume. So please join us this evening, 6 to 8 p.m. Drop in the Den. All right, so thank you. I appreciate y'all being here today. Have a great rest of your day.